All right, we should be live. Merry Christmas. Thank you for hopping on the stream. Appreciate you hanging out with me. I originally had some thoughts, plans of potentially streaming on Christmas Day, and I know I was able to do that last year, and I would have liked to, but unfortunately, I'm going to be all over the place. South Carolina, Florida, I'm going to be traveling for over a week, including Christmas. So, no Christmas Day stream from me this year, as much as I would enjoy hanging out with you guys on the day itself. So I figured today was a pretty good day to not only make up for missing yesterday's stream, also for traveling, but because I'll be gone for Christmas, today is the Christmas stream. So Merry Christmas. Doc's already here in the chat uh, saying that he hates the poll. He hates the poll question because it's too hard. Going with the classic you've seen way too many times, of course, It's a Wonderful Life. I mean, that's a good choice. It's hard to argue against classic Christmas movies. I would probably say, of the movies listed, Home Alone would be my pick. It is kind of a Christmas tradition to watch it every year. I love watching Home Alone. It's just so funny. It's just so satisfying. It's just so ridiculous. And it doesn't matter how many YouTube videos I watch of, doctor watches Home Alone and he tells about all of the real injuries that would happen and how unrealistic it is. Great movie. Hilarious. First and second, both great movies. So Home Alone, definitely my pick. Also, maybe a slight dream of mine for a major holiday. To be home alone would be kind of nice. Doc says, nice shirt, by the way. Thank you. Appreciate it. My Christmas disc golf shirt. Got the trees in the basket. I like how far away the trees are from the basket. Actually, it lets you throw at it. That'd be nice, right? Get the program, Charlotte. I don't know what the idea is with all the woods everywhere, making it hard to get birdies. But yeah, I do break out the shirt once a year, put it on for the Christmas stream, and today is the day. A little bit early, just a little. Also wearing This Is My Christmas Sweater t-shirt. Nice, that's classic. Yep. I do like, of course, that it is a t-shirt that I'm wearing and not any type of Christmas sweater, even a long sleeve. Also love American Christmas Carol and White Christmas. White Christmas was close to making the list, but felt like there was overlap with It's a Wonderful Life. And American Christmas Carol, I have not. Oh, you're just saying the American version of A Christmas Carol? Gotcha. That would be a good choice as well. Definitely a good choice as well. But try to get the variety of the really like kids and then the full, well, very comedy and then another kind of family comedy, as well as the classics and of course the, in its own way, classic Hallmark movies, of which there are several, I have heard. The title is American Christmas Carol. Okay. I'll have to look American Christmas Carol. Okay, gotcha. Henry Winkler. Nice. So a movie from Doc's era, more so than mine. JCT Disc Golf says, "What's up, Brad? Hey, good to see you. Thanks for hopping on and joining. I did run. I watched your in the bag video, but I did not have the volume on because I've been just running around and so busy. So I actually haven't had the chance to leave a comment on the in the bag video yet because I want to actually hear the video and comment something relevant and not just leave a comment in passing just because it was your video. But I have watched it, so I did watch that in the bag, but I do need to watch it with volume soon." Liam stopping on saying hi. Thanks for hopping on, Liam. Merry Christmas. Appreciate you swinging by. Doc finally getting the cart going, which is really cool. Really nice that I got a few. If you haven't joined the Discord, I should probably throw that in the Discord or the Discord link in the chat every week, but I forget, so I don't do that. But if you haven't, you can find it on my channel. You can join the Discord channel, and we don't have a ton going on, but there's a few of us chatting over there. And Doc threw down some pictures of his cart, so if you want to go check those out, it's really cool. Nice that he can get the, the ease of rolling things around instead of the toughness of carrying it back, which for Doc, at his age, he needs the help. And I say that lovingly because I just got a cart because I turned 30. Liam says, love disc golf and love you. I love you too. Merry Christmas. I hope you have some disc golf plans this week. I'm actually struggling a little bit to fit disc golf into my Christmas. It's been kind of wild since I got back from Florida. I've barely played any disc golf. I have a quick round tomorrow, right before I head out for South Carolina. And so that I'm going to squeeze that round in Christmas week, and then I have one round next week. And then I've got an A tier. So it's a little bit of a busy timetable for me, but I'm pretty excited for what's ahead. Definitely gonna be a good Christmas. User MK says, "What do you want for Christmas?" Oh, that's a great question. Um, all of the major things in life that I want, that I already have. So I'm very, very content in a lot of ways. But I would say maybe a putter pouch for my disc golf cart would be nice. So I don't have to jam my hand underneath and grab putters out. It's just a mild annoyance. Maybe another Xbox Series X controller so I can play with 4 people. Not that I know 4 people, but it would still be nice to have a fourth controller. Brody says, "Are those frisbees for frisbee golf?" Yes, technically, of course, the term being disc golf, but yes, these are disc golf discs back here. So each of these, why are you facing the wrong way? Are you all facing the wrong way, or is it just you? You're just a troublemaker. So all of these are disc golf discs, designed, of course, very differently from an ultimate frisbee. So there's quite a difference. Not made to be caught. Definitely made for distance and everything. But yes, it is disc golf, frisbee golf. But generally speaking, disc golfers do like to call it disc golf. Why am I doing it again? Some people get offended by frisbee. Doesn't really bother me, but for accuracy, Doc says, my guess, more tacos, the food and the discs. Nice. Oh gosh. X-Blaze asking if I'm on the nice list course. I think so. That's not up to me, I suppose. Caden says, please shout out. Well, Merry Christmas to you. Appreciate you swinging by and saying hi. So, Merry Christmas to Caden. Doc says, it did help the shoulder. A couple times accidentally tried pulling it with the right arm. Okay, yep. I always have not always, but I have my tripod. I'm filming. So when I'm kind of carrying the tripod around and I have my cart, I have to kind of swap a little back and forth, but the tripod kind of burns the shoulder a little bit more. So I tend to carry the tripod with the left hand, cart with the right hand for myself. But Gage says, "Hi, I'm new here. My name is Gage. Thanks for hopping on, Gage, and Merry Christmas to you. Appreciate you coming by." So just for everyone's information, if you are new here, I do stream every Sunday night at 7 p.m. But here I am on Monday, actually the second week in a row, because my weekend Christmas travels have just been kind of crazy lately. Just in general, my weekend travels have been crazy. But leading up to Christmas, and then next week, I'm going to be traveling again on Sunday. So we're just kind of trying to piecemeal a few live streams together throughout the December 2025. But my next stream might actually be next year, unfortunately. But here I am on a Monday. Normally it's Sunday. Doc says, Gage, we might have a few trolls, but usually pretty good group. May says, hey, me too. I'm new, and my name is Morgan. Thanks for hopping on and joining us, Morgan. Appreciate you being here, and Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to everyone. John Kelly says, ooh, got the Project Grip Rive on the way from a local disc golf shop in Ann Arbor. Nice. Snow melted, got out, launched some discs. Felt so good. The new Q-Line DD3 is pretty stable. The Q-Line, what do I have? I have the, now this is the DD1. Yeah, I just have, the DD2. The Discmania Originals DD2. But I have not thrown the DD3, the Q-Line DD3. Pretty stable. Doc says full size or compact? I think it's full size because I have a full size bag just in the cart. So I have 23 discs. But my bag's a little tall, so the seat butts up against the reaching in for the putter pouch. So the putter, extra putter slots would be really nice to just get the putters out of the bag. But let's see, where's my arrive? My other arrive. Yeah, I got my second Project Grip arrive. I have the pink one in the bag. I love the blue, but I also love a little bit of variety, and I like the way that the pink looks. But this one, this the backup. So I've got a backup arrive hanging out with me. Aliana says, Jesus loves you. Jesus loves you as well. Merry Christmas. Appreciate you swinging by and being here. And as a Christian, sincere believer, for me, Christmas is a time to remember the birth of Jesus, God himself becoming man so that he could die on the cross for our sins after living a perfect life and give us a way to be right with God and have a relationship with him. So Christmas is huge. It's a very significant holiday for me as a Christian, as well as Easter, of course, coordinating the birth and death of Jesus. So appreciate you coming through and hanging out with us today. Devin says, do you have Post Malone ones, like discs? I don't have any Post Malone discs. Old Metal says, Scrooged. Doc says, Brad saw they had phone holders. Maybe one could use as your tripod. Possibly, but I really value the individual leg adjustment of my tripod because I can make it flat on most surfaces, and a cart is going to be tilted whatever direction it's going to tilt. So I know there are some kind of gyroscopic ones where you can make some adjustments, but I would also worry about my phone getting slung off of my bag if I grab it weird or hit a bump too hard. So I like carrying it and setting up the tripod, exactly where I want it and not having to roll a cart in position. So I think I lean that way. I have a friend who has a phone holder on his cart and he films, and I like that he's able to do that and he posts videos, but I just feel like I get the quality and angle that I want more easily with my tripod. So that's probably going to be what I tend to do, just because it's more customizable and adaptable. Doc says, old ain't seen Scrooge in a while. We'll need to rewatch. Doubt Brad's seen it. Modern classic. Yeah, I have not. I don't think that I've seen it. Angry Otter says, howdy, all you crazy cool kids just popping in to hit the thumbs up button. Well, thanks, and Merry Christmas. If you're still here or already gone, Merry Christmas either way. 5200 Cataway says, love from Germany. Merry Christmas and welcome from Germany. Welcome on behalf of the United States from North Carolina. Doc says, hey, Morgan, sorry I missed your comment. Was grabbing a slice of pizza. Of course. John Kelly says, hard to judge true disc stability, though, on frozen discs thrown in 38 degrees. This is true. This is very true. Doc says, I was asking why I was asking. I got compact and regular putter pouch barely fits. Was going to warn you. Be careful for the big putter pouch, but I have the full-size cart, so no worries. Thank you. Well, I appreciate that. And yes, it would be unfortunate to get the wrong size for it. I believe, maybe not. I think I got the same one that my brother has, and I felt like it was good enough. But with the full-size cart, it should be fine. It shouldn't be an issue. But yeah, the compact ones, you're right. That could be an issue. So appreciate you looking out for me, as always, Doc. Jose Cruz says, what's good? Merry Christmas. Christmas is good. Hopefully you have some friends and family that you're celebrating with. And if not, I hope you still have a peaceful and restful Christmas celebration this week. Appreciate you hanging out and being here. Cable says, I like frisbees. Yeah, frisbees are great. Discs are even better, in my opinion. Obviously, the difference between, oh gosh, I'm really going to send these flying at some point. The disc golf disc and the frisbee, pretty extreme, but they're related. Really, the discs are the descendants of the frisbee because they were technological advancements that were created to fly further, faster, and better than a frisbee can. Also, not designed to catch. They're designed to hurt. So don't play catch with a disc. Doc says, John, we're lucky here in North Carolina. Going to be really warm this week. It's going to be nice, and next week Daytona is going to be nice too. So I've seen on the weather forecast. Although one day is supposed to be 60. Pretty cold. Pretty cold. Doc says, don't know but I know the man. Oh, what? The man who shot Liberty Valance wasn't who everyone thought it was? Okay. P31 says, Merry Christmas. Thanks for your content on YouTube. Always keeping it positive. God bless. Merry Christmas to you as well. And thank you for the encouragement. I hope that is the ultimate goal. Of course, as I live my life, I want to be responsible and uh, overall point people to God and share my faith. Not that I expect everyone to just see things the way that I see things, but I want to be an encouragement. I want to grow the sport, and I'm glad that I'm here with you guys in community, even though most of us have never met each other in person, although a lot of you have said hi to me at different tournaments on the course, which I love. We're able to be connected through YouTube about disc golf, and it's a real blessing to be able to be part of that. So thank you guys for watching my videos, for hanging out in the live streams, and really making it fun to make videos on YouTube. Oh, you're replying to someone else, Doc? Yeah. P31 says, You're awesome. Oh, you're awesome. John Kelly says, Already bagging the Wild Honey and Enigma because of you, Brad. Had to get the Rive, and will definitely try to get my hands on a Brave, especially seeing that it's sold out everywhere. It must be good. Yes, I think the Brave is good. And I think with the fairway driver of the original three released being, the ideal in a way for a lot of players, I think it really sold out real quick. I mean, it was sold out. It was almost sold out. I ordered two Braves, got two Graces instead, which is why I have them. Did not feel like returning them because they could not send me Braves instead because they sold out. I was pretty disappointed that I bought Braves and didn't get Braves, didn't get a refund, didn't get a discount. But that's okay. Uh, and then I finally got my hands on a Brave, took it to Missouri, threw it as an extra shot, and didn't get it back, unfortunately. Just finally got my hands on another one a few weeks ago. I've only had the chance to throw it a few times. I've had so many events and then traveling, and then I was sick. But I have thrown it a few times, and I love it. It's great. It's great. It is the in-between, I think, of the Royal Grand Brave that tends to be a little bit flippy, and the Swirly Brave, which tends to be more straight, stable. Still a great disc, of course. I bagged them both, but the Project Grip right in between. That's about right. That's about right. That's how I like it. Doc says, John, I got some disc golf honey holes looking for any particular Brave. The Project Grip. Project Grip. All right, I have to do some research before I answer this question. P31 says, what's the closest Innova has to a Brave? Innova T-Bird? I feel like the T-Bird is closest in numbers, but I don't think it's closer in flight because the Brave tends to drift really nicely versus the T-Bird, but maybe it's not a T-Bird. Anyway, just what comes to mind. I think T-Bird is 7.5, -1.2. And Brave is 7.6, -1.2. But let me look. Kevin says, would you rather fight the admin from Minecraft Story Mode or Alastair from Has-Been Hotel? I'm not familiar with Has-Been Hotel, but the admin on Story Mode is all powerful, essentially. So I would be scared of that. I'll take option B without knowledge because admin from Minecraft, too powerful for me. Unless I could get him to sleep in a bed in the nether. Yeah, get him tired out in the nether. Might work. P31 says, oh, right. Closest, let me check on that. T-Bird flight numbers. I'm only clicking a lot because I want you to highlight. Thank you. Oh, 7502. Okay. It's still close, but it's not as close as I thought with a 0-2, which also does explain why I was thinking that it's a bit more stable. It is, because it is, because it is. John Kelly says the project grip close to max weight is usually go-to. Yeah, that makes sense. What is wrong with is my angle just weird? Probably is. Okay. Doc says, Alas jerks out, beg for forgiveness, then go visit the hotel. LJ Fishing says, you like the buzzsaw, just got one, don't know how I feel about it. Great question. I've thrown it once and it was fine. I didn't really have strong feelings about it. I like the echo, so I tend not to throw a buzz unless it's a buzz SS, which is money for me, but not in the bag because I have multiple echoes in the bag. Um, but the buzz, you can't go too wrong in general with the buzz SS, OS, and buzzsaw because they're excellent discs. A lot of people use them for good reason. I felt like the buzzsaw was overhyped, but anybody who loves it probably has, good reason to love it. I'm sure it's great. But that's my feelings. A bit overhyped and just a good disc. Yeah, that's the sense that I have. Again, haven't thrown it enough to actually really be able to tell you all of my feelings about the buzzsaw. And now I made my camera worse. I'm glad you guys are patient because I'm a little bit of a mess. P31 says maybe a Dark Rebel. Dark Rebel. Let me see. Excuse me. Hey, Anthony Stapleton sent 100 for 2 jewels twice. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Steph says, is the old FD mold. Ooh. Is that the Dark Rebel? That's the old FD mold. LL Corrupted says, are you a Frisbee champion? So I used to play Ultimate Frisbee. So I was not a Frisbee champion. But I used to play Ultimate Frisbee. Now I play disc golf. And I have played for several years. And disc golf discs are designed very differently than a Frisbee is designed. These are designed for playing disc golf on the course, made for distance, speed, and accuracy, not for playing catch. But I would say that I have now stepped into the professional division in disc golf, and I was a pretty high-ranking amateur, particularly in 2025 at Amateur Worlds, where you had to qualify to attend and travel to participate. I was tied for first out of 283 players after round one, ended up dropping down to 15th, but I was still very pleased with being in the top 20 in the world last year. But of course, that's just amateurs. No professionals allowed in that division. And since then, I have accepted cash prizes and am now classified as a professional. But I like to say there's professional disc golfers and then the pros, the pro tour. They're up here. The professionals, there are a few that are close, but then there's me. And then there's the amateurs with, of course, some overlap because some amateurs are very, very good and yet they reject cash to keep competing in amateur division competitions. I think play out of amateur eventually. Like, don't just hang around and beat up on people who played for a couple of years. But generally speaking, there is a division between the amateurs and people who can play professionally. Steph said, Merry Christmas, Brad. Ran into your big brother today, and he admitted that you're a better disc golfer. I believe that you ran into my brother, and I don't believe that he said I was better than him, but it's possible, I guess. That's really great. Man, where was he playing today? He told me where he was playing, and I totally forgot. But yeah, I actually almost joined him, but I was like, I slept really bad. I had a lot to do today, had to pack, so ended up staying home, and I needed to. So that was probably for the best. But it's really great that you saw him out there. That's really great. Anthony says, just stopping in to say hi. Thanks for stopping in, Anthony. And again, thank you for the jewels. Legend. Uh, Kevin says, but if the admin was a player, you can defeat him, but you need gauntlet. You have to punch him a few times. That will take his admin power away. I apparently have played less Minecraft than I thought. Anthony says, have you watched It's a Wonderful Life? If so, where does it rank for you? Maybe you've answered. That's a great question. Yes, I've watched it, and it is this is my perspective. A classic is a movie that is recognized as good despite potentially, you don't have to like love it. So my opinion of It's a Wonderful Life is that it's a good, it's classic for a reason. It doesn't rank super high for like favorites for me, but it has a lot of excellent qualities. So it's a good Christmas movie. I do like it, but just personally, it doesn't knock it out of the park for me. But also, I tend to like uh, Home Alone and like Die Hard 1 and 2 and maybe the Lethal Weapon movies. All of the, oh, not Christmas movies, but they're Christmas movies. Um, but there are Christmas in Connecticut is very good, very funny. Another classic one. But yes, It's a Wonderful Life is good. It's wonderful, you might say. Peter Owen says, "Are you doing an in the bag for 2026?" Yes, I am. Uh, I've over filmed and under edited so much lately, but in the bag 2026 will happen. Hopefully early January, but it definitely can't be in the first week of January. I simply don't have enough time to get all of the footage and do any editing. And I have other videos queued up, a lot of other videos queued up. So we'll be getting around to getting those out for your hopefully enjoyment. But in the bag will be coming early 2026. January is the plan. Steph says, out at Scrapyard, he threw an ace disc into the drink on 9 long. That's a bummer. He should get that back, but that hurts. That hurts a lot. Oh, hopefully it wasn't his comment. Hopefully it wasn't his comment. That'd be devastating. Uh, Doc says, Anthony, I know you mean Brad, but I like it. Nice little classic. That's a good way to. That's a good way to say it. Nice little classic. P31 says the elites. P31 says, have you been picked up by any sponsors? Have you applied to be sponsored by anyone? Yes, no, yes and no in the opposite order. So I applied to Latitude 64 this year, and they said we hate you. No, they just didn't accept me on their team. But I also applied to their professional team after being classified as a professional for like 2 weeks. So I'm not too surprised that they said no. But I also applied for Infinite. Haven't heard back from Infinite yet, but I have really high expectation that they will offer something, not necessarily something that I will accept because I'm not going to take a sponsorship where I do a lot of work and they give me a personal discount. It's just not good enough. But if they're interested in actually trying to coordinate something helpful, um, I'd be pretty interested in selling discs with a promo code. And I know a lot of you guys take my recommendations, and like John Kelly is throwing discs based on discs that I use. And so if you guys end up using a promo code that I have, I think it could be really, really great. I'm just really trying to find that connection. I love more personal or local connection if possible. I have a good connection with Chain Reactions, but Nolan doesn't have a website anymore for selling discs, which I'm so disappointed. I wish that he was an online vendor where I could get a promo code off the ground. I really wish that was the case, but I'll get there. I think I'll get there soon. I'm excited for the future. Mess Matt says, a cute YouTube live streamer, you're a rare breed. Wow, I didn't know my high school friends were on here messing with me. Horatio says, do you prefer. Okay. Doc says, you know why It's a Wonderful Life is considered a classic? I thought it was just because it's in black and white, because it's so old. Because classic is 50 years plus, right? Or is that antique? It's just anyway, doesn't matter. My mind is a little bit off. No, why is it considered a classic? All right. Here, I'll go a step further. We'll just go all in on the timeout. Doc says, by the way, new champs versus chumps. If it didn't pop up for you, there's nice. The one tree craft says, hey, I have a tournament after Christmas. I wanted to know some tips you have for playing at open courses with wind as a factor, putting and thought process. Okay, so first of all, do you have a spin putt or a push putt? Play safe. Pick overstable discs that you know will fight the wind, and if you don't know, go a little bit more stable. I actually at Am Worlds had a fantastic round one, made lead card coverage, triple bogeyed, hole two in the wind. It was just a wonderful moment, shining light on my disc golf career. And it's so funny because 2 weeks ago at the Chainhawk Open, I felt wind like it, and I knew, I'm throwing my rive, and my rive held great lines in the wind. It flew perfectly most of the time, fought through, landed where I needed it to be inbounds. And if I had just known that, if I had just been ready for that at Am Worlds, that would have been really nice. Not to embarrass is the wrong word. Look stupid on coverage, but I did. That's that's part of life. Live and learn. Anyway, yes. So throwing stable to overstable stuff. It's going to make a lot of lines harder to hit. But if you're playing with a lot of OB and you're the one who's in bounds, you're probably going to be scoring pretty well against a field who's going to throw extra distance and out of bounds. If you're throwing inbounds, but reasonable distances instead of going for anything risky. And then based on your putting style, I also have different advice for putting. John Kelly says, you happen to check out that new Ricky Wysocki Pop Top Z Nuke. Saw the video of him throwing a few and was like, you want to try it? I think the wife's getting it for me for Christmas. Oh, heck yeah. Good wife. I have not watched that video. I actually haven't watched a disc golf video, including my own, in about 2 months. Besides the in the bag, JCT Disc Golf dropped his in the bag. So shout out if you want to check that out. So yeah, unfortunately, I have not had the time to really catch up on my YouTube watch list, which is now a lot of videos, particularly disc golf. Doc says, It's a Wonderful Life was not considered good at the time, too sappy. They never renewed the copyright, so TV shows played it all the time because it was free. Interesting. Did not know that. Random says, do you ever disc your golf like crazy? Every once in a while I have a good shot and I'm like, huh, that was a good shot. Surprising. Doc says, sorry, even my honey holes are empty. Even Lat 64 overseas is sold out. Not surprised. Not surprised. They have good discs. Alice says, what's up? Got my personal best on Saturday, +2 on the advanced layout. Not an easy course, so very happy with it, even though I missed two putts. Doc, that's great. +2, heck yeah. Personal best is always an incredible feeling. So congrats on that. And how's the weather over there? You hanging in? You surviving? You having an all right time? Got to check in. Doc says, random. I have a bad right shoulder, so yeah, lots of times I throw left-handed and it will still hurt. Doc says, way to go, Ellis. What was your go-to disc for the round? Explorer and Sword. Hey, two good ones. Those are really nice. Ever since getting a Sword, have been playing much, much better. I remember when you got it earlier, I think earlier in the year. I remember you mentioned that you got a Sword, and that's really awesome that it's actually really taking your game a step forward. Most players, it's not the disc, it's them. But for you, it was the disc. It wasn't you. Avery says, do you do disc golf? Yeah, I do. No, I'm not. I'm just kidding. But yeah, so obviously, frisbee, ultimate frisbee, They're a little bit different than a disc golf disc. But yes, I'm all in on disc golf. I used to play Ultimate a fair amount, a lot of pickup games, intramurals. I played on my college club team for one season, most of the season. And I liked it. Loved Ultimate. It was a lot of fun. But when I finally learned how to throw a disc correctly, I said, oh, I like this. And since then, I've been all in on disc golf, and that has been 4 years now. Just over 4 years, because I moved to Florida and started playing in like November. Not my first round, but this is when I started actually playing disc golf. Like my second round ever. So yes, I do disc golf. I do. Steve says hi from North Korea. I have my doubts, but welcome and Merry Christmas. Ellis says, got the sword from my friend who I play with. It's just perfect for my arm speed. Heck yeah. Doc says, Ellis, tell me you putt with a shield. Lie if you need to. Ellis says, weather is not great, but on the day of my best, it wasn't bad. Some holes were logged. Is that watery? Is that what that means? Doc says, nah, Brad, don't disc golf. All are AI. That's right. I didn't reach back to like prove my background was real, which I usually do, and I started reaching over on the side. But yeah, these are real discs. They exist in the real world, or I have a really interactive AI background. You don't know. You could never tell. I might just be pulling a. I don't know. I can't. I'm a little tired. One over on all of you. Waterlogged. That's what I assumed, but I wasn't quite sure if that's what you bet. Doc says sword and shield. Come on. Yeah, all muddy. Mud is just really annoying. Mud is just really annoying. Alice says almost every shot I have to dry my disc. Not ideal weather, but worth it. Of course, it's worth it. But yes, if you have to deal with the weather, but you can get out there and play, super worth it. If every day is great and you have a rainy one, you can take a day off. That's what I do. Take a day off. I need some days off. So, upcoming great question that I see. Margarita Namesh says, got my first tech disc and a net. And on the first throw, I missed. I can't. On one of the first throws, I missed the net and lost it in the forest. I'm so sorry. That is really funny. You might want a bigger net. That's really unfortunate, but thank you for telling us. I hope you found it. And how far did it go? Did it read how far you threw? P3, I'm sorry for laughing if it damaged it or if you actually lost it. P31 says, what disc from behind you do you like the least? Great question. The disc that I like the least is the disc on the planet, in my personal opinion, and it's called the Yacun Jiao. And I hate it. It's so bad. It is not -2 1.5. It's like -6. It's just awful. I wish that I liked it and I just can't. I think that there is a very, very, very subset of disc golfer who benefits from a Jiao because they potentially have an arm that's like 9 or 10 inches long, and they need a disc that's this flippy and awful. Don't like the Jiao. Do not like the Jiao. Absolutely dislike it. I do have a friend who I would say is probably a little bit better at disc golf than me, and he likes it. He likes almost all of Yakun's discs, and he likes how they can be very good for new players. And I respect the wrong opinion that he has, but my thought process is it's just a crappy disc. That is my opinion. Elle says definitely not cart friendly unless you want the wheels covered in mud. And the back seat of my car now knows what it's like to take a cart out on a non-cart friendly day. I need a portable vacuum cleaner. That's what I need. Rechargeable vacuum cleaner. Fish and Charlie says, my brother plays disc golf. He used to fish, but he's not as good, so he switched it up. I can't throw a disc to save the town. And that's why her name is Fish and Charlie, not Disc Golf and Charlie. Makes a lot of sense. That's fun. I like fishing. I'm not great at fishing by any measure, but I'm decent. Especially like bluegill, crappie, bass, just kind of the Michigan basics, if you will. But yeah, I enjoy good fishing, but far from any type of real angler. Rackle Owen says, now that your case is so full, do you just start stacking discs in corners and on surfaces? Well, I do have a nice little off-camera secondary case, and I'll get you a little glimpse of it here, where I just have a few discs at the moment, but I also have discs. Now I'm gonna have to readjust this. Um, I do have two stacks of discs in view near my door, um, so that I have the ability to take those out on the course more easily. And I have a stack at the bottom of the stairs, and I have a stack garage, and then I have a bag in my car. Great question. P31 says, "Where do you live, Ellis? Might take a hike." Wales. Ellis is from Wales. Doc says, Ellis read a great idea. People say Dollar Tree hairnets are great for putting on your wheels and then putting in the car. I can see that being a good idea. It's hard to agree with Doc sometimes, but he makes it difficult, but sometimes the ideas are just actually good. John Kelly says, Yukon discs are trash, not afraid to admit it. It's my opinion. I'm glad that we're on the same page. At least somebody's with me on that. JCT says, Brad, I'm here. Thanks for coming back. I shouted out your in the bag video, and if you didn't catch, I watched it muted, but I need to watch it with volume so I can actually leave a real comment. Coming soon. Doc says, John, I'm a big Yukon fan, and that tells you all you need to know about Yukon discs. The guy who loves Innova Dragons loves Yukon discs. Very fascinating. JCT says, what are we talking about in a basketball arena? We are talking about the worst disc on my shelf, which I said is the Yukon Jow, flippy and awful. And then we're also talking about whatever. But not Christmas at the moment. Elle says, the most fishing I do is for the disc I throw in the water. Oh, good night. JCT says, ew, get this guy off YouTube. So rude. I'm gonna erase your channel. Doc says disc golf and how much Brad and John love discs, which is negative 100%. Doc says the lost audio before bag is funny because we can plug in what word we want. Nostalgic says, are all those plates? These are disc golf discs, not plates. Let's see. I'm gonna grab this one this time. Cicada. I love the cicada. They are meant to be thrown similar to the idea of a frisbee, but unlike a frisbee, made for catch. Disc golf discs are made for distance, speed, accuracy, and for playing the sport of disc golf to get it into the basket in as few throws as possible. All of these discs fly differently from each other. Some of these will go to the right when I throw them, right hand, backhand, and then some of these will go to the left very fast. And then I have mid ranges and putters and discs that are signed and sentimental and stuff like that. But all of these are disc golf discs. You can eat off of them if you are crazy, but I tend to be a little more sane than that most of the time. I have used a crappy disc as a cup holder, coffee cup holder. It does amuse me a little bit. Doc says shower caps. Sorry, I'm sleepy and after being in the mud. Okay, shower caps. Gotcha. Uh, that's like I was literally envisioning a shower cap, but red, hairnet. So I was like, I know what you meant, but yeah, the shower cap, full plastic. uh, Nostalgic says I need a storage with a bunch of plates with all these colors. says, sorry that account was spamming. All good. All good. Good work. Ed says, would you take $50,000 or a coin flip for 1 million? I would take $50,000 for a guarantee instead of a 50-50 chance that I don't get anything. I am a safe person, and I do enjoy a guaranteed payout. So I would absolutely just take $50,000 because at the moment, $50,000 is somewhat, my life is great. I have no complaints, but somewhat life changing in terms of the impact that it would have. And I don't need a million. It's a lot of money. A million would be great, but guaranteed 50,000. Thank you very much. Doc says, especially if it's tax free. Nostalgic says, never seen one up close, so appreciate it. Absolutely. And it is called Disc Golf, not Frolf. But yeah, some of these are pretty cool. There's some cool designs to them. Some of them are more flexible than others are, but they have the rim designed for speed. Most of them, not most of them, but drivers, when they hit the ground, they tend to lift up and kind of skip off the ground and get more distance. So they're very, very interesting. And I'll grab a putter as well for you, which is more designed for control and also hitting the basket chains and falling into the basket to count, as opposed to a sharper, thinner driver, which can fall out or punch through or bounce off of the chains more easily. Then mid-ranges are for the in-between shots. Henry says, Jesus loves you. Merry Christmas. And Jesus loves you as well. I'm not restrained in sharing that I am a Christian and I take my faith very seriously. So I hope that you, as well as I am, are really celebrating Christmas, the birth of Jesus, and the incarnation, God coming to earth to be a human and die for our sins, which we celebrate at Easter. So I hope you have a great Christmas season and enjoy time with family and the people that you love most. Nathan says, hello from Brazil. Well, hello from USA, United States, North Carolina specifically. Alice says, some nutty chatters today. We've had a handful, but I'm glad you're here as a mod because sometimes I'm a little behind in the chat and I don't see somebody going crazy. We try to put up with them, and we're flexible, but of course, when we have a mod who can handle it, that's such a blessing. And Alice, always appreciate it when you are here and able to help out. Emirate says, yo, it's Will Ferrell. I don't get Will Ferrell very often, maybe ever before. I have gotten, now I'm going to forget his name, Ed Sheeran. I've gotten Ed Sheeran. There's also like, what is that band? The lead singer of a certain band. It doesn't matter. I don't really look like him. And I've gotten McReady when I don't trim up. But Will Ferrell, that's a new one. I don't know. I don't know about Will Ferrell. Maybe it's just the Christmas shirt and Elf, I suppose. Would you get a disc golf van, at least a down payment, or what with the? No, I wouldn't get a disc golf van. No, I would just invest and yeah, it would just pay for a lot of rent and general. It would pay for a lot of food. I'm very practical. That money would be like the extra money to afford rent, food, and disc golf for several years, many years, with traveling included. That'd be really great. Alice says, I think I would take the flip because I don't think 50K would change my life that much. A million would be a big change. And to be fair, proportionally, a million is quite a bit more than 50,000. What is it? 20 times more. But I think guaranteed money is guaranteed money. I wouldn't take the chance of getting nothing. But that's me. Margaret and Namesh says, yesterday I was playing disc golf, went down a cliff again, and somehow all the discs I found were broken. Poor things. They must have fallen a long way. Doc says, I get that, Ellis, but for me right now, would love it to reduce my mortgage. There you go. Nostalgic says, so in a game, do you switch out discs like golf clubs? Excellent question. Basically, the idea is in your bag, you have, it's kind of up to you, but roughly about 20 discs is normal. And based on the shot that you want to throw, you just get to pick the disc that you get to use. So you want to throw a 300-foot shot dead straight, and you're a pretty good disc golfer, you're probably choosing a neutral mid-range to throw on that straight line. But if you have to throw 400 feet and you want it to go left at the end, then you're probably throwing a driver. And like me, I'm not always getting there at 400 feet, but that would be the idea, is throwing a distance driver to get there. And then different discs fly differently. You'll throw them differently. You'll want a different distance or a different speed of disc, so it slows down and settles close by where it touches the ground, or discs where you want it to skip and maybe get underneath some trees and around a corner to get yourself in a good spot. So it just really depends on what you need, but yes, the idea is just like how clubs give you different distances, discs give you different distances, but they also give you different speed that they get there, reaction when they hit the ground, and amount of variation moving right and left in the flight. So it helps you navigate around obstacles and not just getting far enough, but not farther. Farther, further, farther. Ella says, depends on what situation you are in. I don't have a mortgage. That's true. That is fair. Sean says, Merry Christmas to all the disc golf community, and Merry Christmas back to you as well, Sean. Appreciate you hanging out and being here. Doc says, nostalgic. Hopefully one to drive and one to putt with a nice birdie. It's true. Elle says, you look nothing like Ed Sheeran. You look like Brad Pitt. Hey, I'll take a Brad Pitt. That's an upgrade from Ed Sheeran. I think the Ed Sheeran comes from the bit of red in the beard, and I feel like I trimmed it quite a bit actually today, and I do feel like it's not really showing all that much right now. But I do have red in the beard, and I do think that's where Ed Sheeran comes from, and I'm a little pasty. Doesn't come from the musical ability. Not at all. Rackles said, I think one commentator, you said you look like from Stray Kids once. I'm trying to remember that. If not, someone said it now. Oh wait, I've looked this up before, so somebody definitely said it. Oh my gosh. That I don't know if that's supposed to be an insult or a compliment. I'm a little bit torn on that, but it's funny. I'm like, I don't know if I ever looked that up, and it's a search I've made before. Zola says, what's up, fellow disc? Played 18 in snow today. Hey, out in the snow, that's a rough one. I've played one or two rounds in the snow only. I grew up in Michigan, but didn't play disc golf in Michigan, and in Florida, didn't get much snow. So only on a vacation, who vacations to Michigan in winter? That didn't make much sense either. Played around in the snow. Thankfully, it was kind of sunny, and it was actually warm, because it could have been awful. Snow golf can be fun, says Doc. Yeah. Zola says, did you do the Trash Panda swap this year? I did not. It was mentioned to me, and I just didn't follow up with it right away, and then it was already swapped. So I did not participate, but I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's really cool. You can send stuff out and get something. You don't know what you're going to get. Some people are very generous, so that's really cool. And it can be an opportunity to do something really nice for someone. So I like the idea of it. I think it's really cool. So did you get something? Did you participate yourself, Zola? Nostalgic says, so like Pokemon with discs. Yes, I mean, you could really make any JRPG or turn-based strategy game analogy with it, because you pick what you want based on what you need to do. And yeah, I mean, there's a very slim similarity and overlap with the idea of Pokemon. But yeah, I mean, it's like you could say, oh, like choosing tactics on a battlefield. Like, it's a huge exaggeration, but yeah, it's like making your choice based on the circumstances and how you can best win. So yes, in a way. Alice says, it's a good idea to put a pink ribbon on your disc when it's in the snow, so you can see where it lands. That is true. I thankfully played with less than 4 inches of snow, but there were a few times where a disc just goes into the snow, and it's kind You better be watching where it went in, or it's going to be hard to find. Oso says, almost went and played today. Going in the morning. I'm going to be out as well on the course, getting some golf in. Brody says, are those frisbees for frisbee golf? You asked that an hour ago. You asked that 45 minutes ago. These are discs. Yes. Unlike a frisbee, these are disc golf discs. But yes, these are for disc golf. And why didn't you listen the first time I answered? Maybe you asked and then left, and I answered 5 minutes later when I finally caught up to chat. That's why I don't do things without looking. Doc says, Zola heard some people having issues again with Trash Panda Swap. Hate to see Grinches at Christmas. Yeah. Sean says, just tried glow disc golf for the first time. Hey, heck yeah. Hopefully it wasn't too cold. That's awesome. I've been out playing glow a handful of times. I had one experience that was meh and one experience that was pretty good. Probably helped that I won some money. But it was fun. It was a good time. Glow doubles is where it's at. Glow doubles is where it's at for sure. Eli says Photoshop frisbees. Doc says the frisbees are real. The host is Photoshop. Thank you so much for the clarification, Doc. Yeah, hopefully you saw me grab. These are not Photoshop. These are real background discs that I own in real life, or it's really good AI simulation that reacts to my hand. You don't know. Good luck figuring that out. Doc says, Ellis, not a yellow ribbon? Wait, those are for the old oak tree. All right, walked into that one. Doc says, Sean, how did you like it? No, some people like glow plastic with how it throws, but not just the glow. Good question. Yes, did you like it, Sean? K-Dog says, hi, thanks for hopping on and joining K-Dog Disc Golf. Thanks for swinging through. Merry Christmas to you, and hopefully you have some fun holiday plans and the ability to spend time with important friends, family, people close in your life. I'm excited that I have the opportunity myself, and all it takes is traveling for 10 days. But it's great. It's going to be awesome. Unk says, have you played Ultimate? Yes, played a lot of Ultimate in high school and college, particularly college, on the club team, intramural team, pickup, whatever. I like Ultimate. Ultimate's great. But I'm 30 years old. I am not ancient, but I'm also not diving catching very often anymore. It was really great when I was spry, as they say. No, I loved Ultimate, and I just kind of looked at it as I'm good but not great. And I'm not a kind of pinnacle of speed and athleticism. I played soccer, and I was good. I was good at soccer to my future. And I said, soccer is not a lifelong thing. I could play for a long time, but it's not a lifelong thing. It's not a thing I'm destined for success in. Same with Ultimate. But when I started playing disc golf, I quickly realized that disc golf is a lot of mental. And I figured out that I would be able to have somewhat of a future in disc golf. And here I am with a live stream for my disc golf YouTube channel and a lot of tournaments and a couple of good ones. So it's kind of working. It's kind of working. Joel says hi. Thanks for hopping on, Joel. Julian says Jesus loves you and he died for you. And I appreciate that. And I, as a Christian, I celebrate Christmas to remember Jesus' birth, and of course Easter, his death on the cross. But the ultimate gift is Jesus being born to live a perfect life and die for the sins of the world and give us the ability to be made right with God. And for me, I am forever eternally grateful for that gift. So I hope that you are able to remember that and celebrate Christmas with your family and with those important to you. Merry Christmas. Doc says, Brad, Amazon affiliate link. They sell discs. Don't know if it would be enough for the trouble. Haven't really. I feel like Amazon's really stingy, but sure. It doesn't hurt to give that a peek and just look into it and see the details. But no, I haven't. I haven't looked at that at all. Eli says, I only have the photoshopped ones at home. Doc says, Brad, glad you got to see family. Stay safe, and hopefully you will have an older brother to spell you while driving. I will not be driving alone, so I've got that covered. A little tag team driving going on, so I will be good. Ziggy says National isn't a Christmas option. I only named things that I'd watched, and yeah, it was not one of the options there. But I mean, if you're gonna go for Home Alone or Elf, I guess kind of fit the idea genre, maybe not to the extent. But we do. I have an update on the poll. We have a good 62 votes, very solid. Elf currently winning at 42%, and Home Alone at 40. So two of the fun comedy, more wacky ones. A Wonderful Life polling at a solid 13%, and any Hallmark Christmas movie at 5. I know that there are some of you out there for any old Hallmark movie is great, or at least a lot of them are a lot of fun. And I get it that the charm of predictability, a great ending, a little cheese. Uh, I tend to lean in the direction of Home Alone, Die Hard, Lethal Weapon style Christmas movies. Uh, Maybe a little bit of Violent Night with David. Oh gosh, the guy from Stranger Things. Um, but that's just my tendencies toward a Christmas movie. But Christmas in Connecticut is really good, and there are a ton out there that are a lot of fun. Don't know if Brad's old enough for his mom to let him see it though. I wouldn't necessarily care to see it myself. Cube says you don't even donate to charity. Don't have much to donate, but I do tithe to my local church. And Carmel Baptist does a lot in the local community in Matthews and in Charlotte and the greater area, as well as missions across the world. So we are pretty involved as a church, building wells and teaching English around the world, as well as Bible translation, meeting needs in local schools and homeless shelters in Charlotte. So, of course, I'm not claiming credit for any of those things. I'm just grateful to be part of a church that is very invested in the local community. And as a Christian and as a trained pastor as well, I have just such a deep appreciation for those who are generous, particularly around Christmas. But yeah, I mean, I personally do tithe on my income to my church, and I'm grateful to be able to participate in all of that good, just because I'm following what I believe is God's leading to give a tenth of what I earn back to Him because it's all His. It's not mine. It all belongs to the one who brought about my very life and existence itself. Cube, you don't even donate to charity. Ziggy says, nothing like Christmas to remind us of Jesus telling us not to treasure material things. There can be a sense of irony with Christmas. I like to focus on how, with Christmas, we tend to pick a gift for someone that says, hey, I thought of you, I care about you, and I wanted to give this to you because you're important to me, and this reminds me of you, or I want you to remember me based on my gift. So I'm very much in favor of meaningful Christmas gifts, and it's more important the time that you get to spend with those that you love than the things that you get at Christmas. Getting gifts is fun; it's great, and it is an excuse to uh, you know spend a little bit on somebody that you care about, and be a little bit you know for those who tend to be a little tight with their money, which I respect the tendency to be careful with what you spend. It's a great excuse to be like, all right, I'm gonna get something nice for somebody that I really care about. So there are several ways to look at it. I do think that there is a tendency to over spoil children, and it can have a negative impact on gratitude and um, selfishness and greed. Um, but as an adult, I very much appreciate the way that I'm able to interact with my family and friends. And when I'm giving someone a gift, I'm looking at them and I'm giving them something that says, hey, like I was thinking of you and I got this for you because you're important to me. So that I find a lot of value with that. It is not always the way that Christmas gift giving or receiving is done. I have always believed that it is better to give than to receive, and I love receiving a good gift. I really, really do. But I remember gifts that I gave to people, and the way that they lit up and smiled when they got it because it was meaningful to them, and that's way better. That's way better. Uh, okay. Doc says pickleball Christmas is also not an option. Doc says, Brad, I get your movie options. Me, I have enough drama. Why? I like the softer movies. There you go. Edit says, hey, I love your lives. Well, thank you. Appreciate you being here and hanging out. And I like doing the live streams. It's a lot of fun talking with you guys, and joking, getting teased by Doc, not understanding what Doc is saying, insulting Doc. It really is a lot of comments from Doc. He does have the number one crowd for a reason. Uh, Baby Leg says, brother, what? Says, how have you been? I've been great. Celebrating Christmas, hanging out with friends and family. It's been awesome. Yep, having a good time. Lots of Christmas travels. Not as much disc golf this week as maybe I might prefer on a holiday week. But the more important thing, of course, is to be able to celebrate Christmas with the people that are important to me. And that's what my week looks like. So I'm squeezing in a round of disc golf tomorrow before leaving on my travels. So tomorrow morning, I get to play, and that's great. And then maybe in Daytona, I'll play around. I have a course picked out. So if I can squeeze it in, that would also be awesome. Otherwise, not a big deal. It's going to be a nice couple of weeks. Reed says, is your left eye lower than your right eye? Yes, it actually is. Yes, that is actually true. I don't know if you're actually sincere or messing with me, but yeah, my eyes are off. If you look very carefully at my eyes and my ears, they are not symmetrical. This is not a straight line from eyes to ears. So yeah, the answer is yes. And I am not bothered by it one bit. Doesn't bother me at all. Edit says, what do you think is the best way to get a young broke new disc golf player? I mean, the best way is to go. Well, I know broke is hard, but take them to a tournament. Uh, if they're young enough, people are just gonna hand them stuff, dude. Kids get given all sorts of stuff at disc golf tournaments. I'm not jealous. But taking them, and I sorry to clarify, I mean like a pro tour event. If they're out and about, they're gonna be handed some discs. That tends to be the way to get some free stuff. But I would say uh, really getting involved a little bit with a local league, you'll find some players like me who have more discs than obviously we need or are carrying with us. And a lot of us are very happy to give a disc to a kid. So I would say that's a good way to do it is make that local connection because you're going to find and hopefully build a friendship, a kinship with someone who's played disc golf for a long time and they've got discs that they are happy to give away to someone who's newer and broker than they are. Doc says it's okay, Brad. One day you'll get old, and kids will make fun of your favorite stuff. Kids make fun of my favorite stuff all the time. I was a youth pastor. I was a youth pastor. I think that nobody made fun of my favorite stuff. It happened quite a bit. I was also a camp counselor, so edits. Oh, I watched that one. Doc says, I see it. It's just his head tilting. No, it's not. It's me. It's my eyes. Doc says, just get a couple of mids and a putter or two. If there's a local shop, grab some used ones. Reed says, that's interesting. Never seen that before. Wasn't hating, just asking. I mean, I think it's more common. We just don't really notice asymmetry all that much in facial structure. I try to distract by smiling all the time, and it never works. No, but I mean, it's just who I am. I don't care. Doesn't matter. It's true. Have a giant mole. Have a buried mole in my beard. Have red in my beard. Like it's just a fact about me. So not bothered by it. Edit says, see, I'm 14. I don't know how tournaments work yet. Okay. So if you're 14, I would say, to whatever extent you can, meet people, especially if you have a parent take you to the course to play some disc golf, get meeting people. local people who are playing disc golf, particularly in a league or a local tournament, if you can get there. There are junior events. Anything that's is really geared toward kids. So being involved in a junior event, you'll probably get some type of clinic and lesson, some teaching opportunity. You're probably going to have a free or low cost entry, and you're probably going to have prizes available for being won, and you'll probably have a nice players pack where you're going to get your hands on a disc or two. So keep your eyes on junior or out for junior events. Um, yeah, I have no idea, of course, where you live, but if you were in Florida, anywhere near Gainesville, the Chainhawks have a fantastic yearly junior event. That's really, really good. It's free and it's just incredible for kids. So yeah, I would suggest looking up on disc golf scene. Make sure your date range is for like the whole year, and then try to look up junior events. Keep your eyes peeled for that. But yeah, nothing beats local involvement, because when people in your local area know that there is a kid who's getting into the sport and doesn't have access to a lot of discs, you're gonna get some discs. Discs are so I would say do something like that, because that is a circumstance where I would give a disc to someone. Maybe not right from my bag or from my car right away, but like if they're involved and I'm seeing them, I'm gonna be like, hey, do you have many discs? Do you need some discs? Help you out. A doc says if money is really tight, grab an old lunch bag. They make great disc golf bags and even some water bottle holders. That's fair enough. Ziggy Zag says, how do you feel about James 127? And what program does your church have specifically for widows and orphans? Do you believe that following worldly traditions considered unstained from the world? Okay, I think I know what you're asking. So James 127 says, true religion and undefiled before God is this, to visit the widowed and the fatherless in their affliction, and to keep oneself unspotted from the world. James 127. So I would say that I know a lot about the widow involvement with my church. My brother is actually a deacon, and deacons have an assigned amount of kind of divvied up needs from the church. So one of the needs that my brother and his wife meet is checking in on a widow. I think several widows, but I know of one in particular, where there's regular check-ins. There's making sure, hey, do you have all of your physical needs met? We're here to pray for you. We're just here to visit you and meet those social relational needs. So there is a lot of involvement with widows that I know directly. I know that there is an adoption program. I know that there's a program for kids with special needs. I don't know very specifically that there is a program for orphans directly, but I don't imagine that there isn't. Carmel is a large church, so they have the ability and capacity to do that on a larger scale. I've only been at Carmel for a year, and I just became a member in the last 2 weeks, actually. So my direct involvement is a little more recent and a little more shallow, where I've more been involved in like small groups and doing a little bit of teaching and volunteering. But for the most part, getting adjusted to being moved to Charlotte. Um, so when James is talking about keeping yourself unspotted from the world, I believe that keeping yourself unspotted from the world is to avoiding sin and obeying God with your behavior and actions. I don't believe that it is avoid anything that people who aren't Christians do, because that's essentially everything. And there are a lot of examples in the Old Testament where the Jews were supposed to be set apart from the nations that were around them, but that was not an arbitrary thing. It wasn't just, hey, these people don't know me, so don't do anything that they do. It was, these actions are ungodly, worldly, demonic worshiping actions, and you're not supposed to do them. You are set apart from that. So even where people get the idea that Christians shouldn't have tattoos is talking about markings on your body. Uh, I believe that the specific reference is a self-harm reference in worshiping of false gods. Um, that is what the problem is, not having ink uh, under your skin. I don't necessarily think that I don't want a tattoo. I don't necessarily think it's the wisest thing ever. I have friends with tattoos. But the reason, that God wants Israel set apart from the nations around them wasn't just don't do a thing that an unbeliever does. So if we're following a Christmas tradition, that's not a directly Christian spiritual tradition. It doesn't mean that, oh no, we need to be unspotted from the world. Avoid doing that. Uh, I think that would be very extreme. That would be an extraordinarily out of context analysis of James 1:27, and I don't think that fits with the entirety of Scripture as a whole. And let me see. I think there are a lot of cultural practices that were done in you know throughout Israel's history, and at the time of Jesus, that Jesus participated in, that were not directly spiritual practices, but just cultural things. So I don't think that's what it means by keep yourself unspotted from the world. Normally, talking about being unspotted is not a reference to just being different, but it's about cleanliness or being clean. And I believe that that is referring to being morally pure in your actions and behavior. So that's a long answer, but you asked, and I'm very familiar with James, so that's a good verse to pick. Okay. All right, let's see how far back I am after all of that because I love rambling. Also, it was a great question. Doc says, it worked for 99% of us. Brad, we didn't notice. Edit said, I've tried meeting people, but my course is normally empty in Alabama. Okay, so fairly close area, but yeah, I mean, it might be a worthy event to travel for if it's within, well, that's a lot of hours. Probably not. Maybe if it's within 3 or 4 hours. Doc says, try to get a parent into disc golf. That's true. Could go together, but yes. Disc golf scene, put in all the things, no tournaments found. Okay. I would search for on UDisc. I would search for leagues in your area. So anything at any of the local courses or courses you can reach reasonably within a good period of time, I would look for league events. So search under league, or don't search, but like go to the league tab. I think that there's a league tab on UDisc, and that will directly be um, league events where you're going to have an organized time to run into other disc golfers and other people. That would be the way, I think, to make sure you meet someone. Okay. Chris said, heard you mention Carmel Baptist earlier on. I worked for a couple of the pastors on staff at your church, Alex and Patrick, early in ministry at different church, and they are awesome. Love your content. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much. And I don't know that much about Patrick, but I can also agree with that and vouch for Pastor Alex. What a kind, wonderful, knowledgeable person. Just a person who loves God and loves people. And that's just really, that's the heart of the Old Testament and the New Testament is love God, love people. And Jesus clarified that for us. Alex exemplifies that. I'm sure Patrick does as well, although I have less familiarity with him directly. But that's really cool that you have that connection. Thank you for mentioning that, and I really appreciate the encouragement and you being here to hang out a little bit. It's really cool that you swung through the live stream when I was talking about Carmel Baptist. That's great. Edit says, Doc, my dad plays with me sometimes, but he just uses my disc. He is older and can't play much. Doc says, how many subscribers to get a face tattoo? There is no amount of subscribers that would get me a face tattoo, but I'll put it at 1 billion. 1 billion, because that'll never happen. But if you guys try, I'd be very happy. Ziggy says, you seem very astute, very impressed, interested in your church. Can you please say it again so I may inquire further? So it is Carmel Baptist Church, which is in Charlotte, Matthews, North Carolina. And yes, I have a degree in youth ministry and biblical studies. So it's the passion of my life is searching the scriptures and doing my best to understand them properly, not just making assumptions that what I heard growing up is the proper interpretation, or that a surface level reading I understand what's going on. I have several biblical commentary sets that I do my best to consult when I'm about to teach or preach, because I want to make sure that I'm not coming up with my understanding of a passage of scripture and just assuming that I know exactly what's going on, but I want to consult wiser, more knowledgeable scholars, and scholars who have a little bit of difference of perspective from each other, so that I can see them presenting why they think they understand things properly, and I can kind of see, that this makes a great point, and this seems like a pretty weak perspective on that. Like that's very interesting. You can see them match up against each other. So yes, it is the absolutely the fundamental passion of my life is living for God and teaching when I can. I'm very excited. Actually, I met with the small groups pastor of Carmel today, Kenny. We got some coffee, which was pretty good. It was really, really great to meet with him. And we talked some about the potential involvement for me, uh, jumping into kind of lead a small group. Don't know the necessarily the likelihood of diving right in because with disc golf and a lot of upcoming travels, it's kind of like I can't commit to every Sunday consistency, which I'd love to do. I wish that all disc golf tournaments were done on Saturday, and the Saturday was a really long day where we could play everything, and that I was always local. Uh, just not quite the life stage that I'm in at the moment, but I'm also grateful for what God has been doing for me and where I am in life. So, all good things. Doc says, Edis, if you have a field close to your house, great for field work. Maybe you can ask for a basket. Some are around $100, great for practice. Sure. Edis says, I love a good bit of, uh, I love on a good bit of prop, so I have room. Trying to build a DIY basket, so hopefully that works. Okay, gotcha. That's awesome. Yes, building a DIY basket is it's tough, but it's so rewarding when you get it kind of right, and you're like, oh, this works. Like it's really a cool feeling. So I love that for you. That's really awesome. Good luck with that project. That's a lot of fun. I know Justin, no, not Justin two, but Justin one, um, also built his own disc golf basket. And I've seen pictures and I was pretty impressed. Like, put in some work. The dude made it right. Not like 100% of disc golf basket, but within legal parameters, I believe. Like, it was quite cool. And it says, look for a league. There's one on Sundays, but I have church. Okay. Yeah. That's maybe they'll have league events off Sunday at some point. It does seem to be like there's a lot of Sunday morning leagues. Hopefully they'll have summer like midweek doubles and things like that. So keep your eyes peeled for upcoming um, events when it's not winter. Hopefully the Sunday only is just a winter thing, and they'll shift out of that in the spring. That's my hope for you. For Alabama, it shouldn't be too long before you start opening up. It just depends on your local league involvement, but hopefully opening up more for like doubles leagues, glow leagues, putter leagues. So keep paying attention. Maybe find if there's a local Facebook group for your area. Like there's Charlotte area disc golf, and Gainesville had the Chainhawks. And if you can find that group and join it, then you should be able to see upcoming events, including like putting leagues and stuff like that, that might not always make UDisc right away. Zig says, thank you for your time. I subbed. The sports thing is not my interest, but I look forward to more Christian conversations. Hope it's a great holiday time for everyone. Absolutely. Thank you for the good questions. And you're always 100% welcome. And all of your questions are also welcome. I will not have answers for everything, but I will give my best to share my level of understanding and my level of confidence so that I don't just claim to like have knowledge I don't have. I promise to be honest with what I understand and what I don't. But I would love to have more conversations and answer more of your questions whenever you want to come talk. I'm generally streaming Sunday nights at 7 p.m. So hopefully late enough that anybody who is going to church in the evening will be able to get back in time for most of the stream. So Sundays at 7 p.m. is when I tend to stream. It happened to be Monday this week and last week because of Christmas travels. Edit says, remind me how doubles work. Generally, doubles is the best shot doubles format. So you get paired up usually randomly with a doubles partner, and both of you will throw, and then you guys get to decide this disc is way further, or hey, I like the angle on your shot. Let's throw from there. Then you both throw from there until one of you makes the putt or throws into the basket, and you are done with that hole with your team score being however many shots you took, like the better shot. You only count one for every time you both throw. So basically, what it does is it really gives you a good chance to erase any mistakes that you make, or at least the big mistakes that you make, because most likely your doubles partner won't make, the same or as bad of a mistake as the majority of the time. Doubles teams can often, get into trouble, but usually you end up with several doubles teams having really great scores because when one person messes up, the other person's got their back. It's just a fun way to do it, and it's a good way to meet a handful of new people on your card, but also be more generally involved with a league. And if you're there early enough, you can catch people who are warming up. You can meet the person who runs the league, and that's probably the most important connection. The person that you are paying or that is organizing it is probably the person that it's most important to be like, hey, I'm just getting into disc golf, and I don't know anybody, but I'm hoping learn and participate. And like I don't have that many discs, but I'm here to get better and be involved. And I think you're going to end up with some discs pretty soon if you do that, as long as they're not all heartless. Um, Mark Travis says, "What is topic?" Well, generally speaking, disc golf, but the topics can range from Christmas and movies to Jesus and the Bible and church, soup. We talk about a lot of random stuff. So, generally speaking, we don't really talk politics. First of all, I don't really care enough, and everyone's so pissed off about everything. And second of all, just not up for that crap. And we keep it pretty family friendly. But feel free to chat about something, and I'll probably say something. I'll answer a question, or normally I don't make fun of it unless it's Doc. But I like to joke around a little bit. So, but disc golf is the main thing. So, got all my discs back here, more than I need, I guess. But I also didn't buy a lot of them. Most of them are given to me through various circumstances. Edit says, I think I've only got like 6 real birdies in my life. LOL. Well, then doubles is perfect for you because you can have a doubles partner who does a fair amount of the work, and then you hit a couple of putts and you play a couple safe shots in bounds and let him get aggressive, and you can be a really good team. Doc says, mostly disc golf, a little bit of soup. I knew you were going to say soup. That's great. Brad will hit a tree, Brent will pure a shot, and let Brad tap it in for birdie. You should see all the doubles stuff that I got with Kevin. It was the exact opposite, where I threw everything. He made some good putts, by the way. He made some putts that were not tap-ins. But then Kevin taps in. It was pretty funny. I was enjoying that. Doc says, honestly, edits usually like Brad, but listen at the start. Sometimes people like to play with different rules, like worst shot doubles, etc. Of course, it's not all best shot doubles. That's traditional. That's normal. But there are varieties to it. Marcelino says, good to see you. Heck yeah. Thanks for hopping on and joining. Merry Christmas. I hope that your celebrations this Christmas are great, restful, peaceful, and with people that you love and care about. Friends, family, whoever it is. I hope you have a great Christmas. I'm planning to have a good Christmas. No, it's going to be great. Marcelina says, just had my first son a couple of hours, so I'm scrolling while my wife and son sleep. Excited to play disc golf with my son as soon as he grows up. Oh, congratulations to both of you. That's a Merry Christmas. And the fact that your son is born a few days before Christmas Day itself, that's good as well. But oh my goodness, my dad's birthday is Christmas Day, and that's what it is. That's great. But a few days before Christmas is a beautiful time. Congrats. That's really, really cool. That's really cool. Very, very happy for you guys. Very happy. Doc says, edits. At one point, Michael Jordan had 6 3 shots. Okay. I guess he started somewhere. So there you go. Look up dinosaur discs when he's 4 or 5. Erwin says, Norris Chuck, hey Brad, hope you're doing well. Doing fantastic. Having a great week, really. Excited for Christmas. A lot of travels. Little disc golf. Not as much as I would normally schedule, but it's worth it for the friends and family that I get to spend the holidays with. So it's all good. Hope you have a great Christmas as well. Merry Christmas to you and yours. Hope that your holiday is fantastic, peaceful, and only a little chaotic. Sean says, what too much disc golf does to someone. I don't know if there is a thing that's too much disc golf, except for when it hurts. Otherwise, it's not too much. Edit says, do you have a factory second disc? I probably have some factory second. I tend not to have a lot of Innova factory seconds. I tend to more have, well, if I could find it. Didn't fall. I tend to have more of the lab seconds from MVP because I've gotten multiple. I've gotten a gyro box and I won some lab second discs from a space race, things like that. So lab second tends to be my most common versus like the factory second or the other ones. The X out, I have a few X out Discmania discs. That one's not one. Nah, they're somewhere back here. Also, this is bothering me. Okay, everything has been fixed. You couldn't even see that, but also that's bothering me. It's a little bit off. I don't pay enough attention to anything. Jaws is the best Christmas movie. Doc says Irwin not totally wrong. Happy Festivus, Brad and chat. Yes, Merry Christmas. If Brad knows that, I will be shocked. Don't know it. Yes, Sophie says, what's the biggest disc you've ever played with? Well, an ultimate frisbee disc would be the biggest disc that I've ever played with because it's technically a legal PDJ disc, but realistically, the Makani is actually the biggest disc I've ever really played with. It definitely has that extra size to it. It's extra bulky, tall compared to just a driver. And I have played some rounds with the Makani. They were just kind of like glow rounds, but I did win a disc because I took second to a Pro Tour player, and he passed on the prize. So, heck yeah, I won a disc. With a disc, I won a disc. But the Makani is that kind of bigger, chunkier disc. And I have not thrown many of the wonky ones. Oh, I do have the Oxymoron, which is one of the wonkiest ones. But you have that inside rim. You can grip it, maybe at the corner if you want, or where I throw it here. But man, oh man, does it fly up. It's a nose-up disc. It just lifts itself up into the air for you. A little bit of a weird disc. Understable, and they had to add a 5th flight number, which is lift. So it's not a 4 flight number disc, it's a 5. And yeah, it just lifts itself up into the air. But it's a lot of fun. It's a fun disc to throw. I still haven't birdied with it yet. Hopefully coming in the future. Doc says Condor. Edit says lost my factory second. X, and I'm so sad, is my favorite. I hope that you find it again or replace it. Nej says, do you play disc golf? Yes, I play a lot of disc golf, a lot of tournaments. My claim to fame for the year was 15th at Amateur Worlds, and I made lead card after being tied for first after round 1, which was a huge blessing and a great opportunity. First, then I dropped all the way to 15th, but we don't need to talk about how that happened. Yeah, play a lot of disc golf, film a lot of disc golf, and then I have the weekly live stream, usually on Sunday at 7 p.m., but around Christmas with Christmas travels and everything, it's just a bit off schedule-wise. Soon, back in January, hopefully back to the weekly Sunday night at 7 p.m. schedule for the streams and the weekly videos, which I have not dropped weekly in a while. Hopefully coming back soon to a normal channel near you. Normal-ish. Herman says, you were right, Doc. Sorry. Edit says, found it on a pond, so not sure that any chances an Excalibur. Have a pic of it. It's the Innova Factory Second X, but it's a clear green. Or the X out, yeah. So it's hard to say with the Factory Second. It might have the name on the bottom, so you can find it. Because a lot of the Innova... Oh, I don't know if I have any Innova right here. Double stamped Discmania. Oh well. not a big deal. But yeah, a lot of Innova. Oh, this might be Innova. So this one, it just says 2024 on the stamp, or it might say factory second or something like that. But a lot of the Innova will still have the name of the disc somewhat near the center of the disc on the bottom. So this one is a Mako 3, which I can see right there. Actually, I'm glad to get this disc back. I let someone borrow it for a long time back. X out means is a second, not its name. Yes. Ooh, Rackle Owens. How long does it take to make cheeseburger soup? Not hamburger soup. There must be cheese. The question is really good. I would say with a little help, it takes an hour and a half. Depends on your portion, of course, but with the peeling and slicing and dicing of the potatoes, chopping up the carrots and the celery, not to mention the process of sauteing everything, then starting up the broth and then getting everything boiling, and then you have to make the roux on the side and add it in at the end, and then stirring in and melting all the cheese and blending the sour cream in. Do not forget the sour cream, most important ingredient of the cheeseburger soup, besides the cheese and the burger. I would say hour and a half. If you have some help, could be more like an hour 15. If you're more talented in the kitchen, could be an hour. So that's fairly likely. But for me, I'm always like, I was supposed to do this sooner, and then it takes me longer. So that's my estimate. But I double the recipe. I'm sure you'll not be able to get away with just one serving. So that's going to make a difference as well, doubling or tripling the recipe. But I find doubling the recipe is like 7 days of food for me, 6.5 maybe. So you'll probably be able to double it for a good meal. But yes, highly recommended recipe. Highly recommended. I have in my fridge the last serving, it's a big serving, of cheeseburger soup, and I am so excited to get rid of all of you and end the stream and go get some dinner. I'm not that hungry, actually. But I am looking forward to getting some delicious food. Roblox, I have seen a comedy before, so it's not new and it's not your own original thought. Doc says, hour to cook Reckle, a lifetime to master. Figured he just browned the burger and added a block of cheese. No. I cook. I don't just fry up a couple little things. I cook. I'm not an amazing cook, but I cook. Sounds like the same timeline as sausage potato soup. Probably. Edit says, is it possible for me to be an admin? So my basic process for modding someone is if you come back and I trust you, then you ask and I'll make you a mod. So just come back for the next time that I stream and ask again. And yes, I'll make you a mod. It is a little bit annoying that there's not a ton of mods in the chat tonight. Usually there are, but it's not the normal Sunday night. It's a Monday, so we're a little bit off. EMC says this guy is by far cutest looking disc golfer. I vote to make him the face of the sport. Doc, they're here for you again. Your fans have returned. So they're here, and I don't know. I think Doc could be the face of the sport. I think that's definitely possible. Doc says Rackle had some thin pepperoni. Got in the meat section, big slices, made a pizza that used that pepperoni under the cheese, then regular pepperoni on top. Oh, that's too much pepperoni. That's just too much. Just too much. Switch out the pepperoni and cheese, all the layers of cheese and a little pepperoni. Rackle says, like to try making your famous hamburger soup one day, so I'm trying to mentally prepare myself for it. Yes, it is worth preparing for. And also, I give out personal advice for anyone who asks, so always feel free. But it is cheeseburger soup. Very important. It's cheeseburger soup, not just hamburger soup. Edit says, cool, I was here a stream, but ended pretty soon after I got there. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, that probably happened last week. Was a pretty short one. I squeezed it in and went to bed because I was pretty wiped out after all of my insanity of December. But appreciate you hanging out and joining us. And yeah, as soon as you are back next week, you just let me know, and of course, I will remember you this time. Last time, if it was really brief at the end, didn't stick in the mind, but this time it will. Rackle says, "Oh, cheeseburger soup. That's an important distinction. Apologize for my grave mistake. Apology completely accepted. Forgiveness is free and granted." So, yes, you are blameless and no longer should you be sorry for the accidents of the past. You have figured it out. Cheeseburger soup. Doc says, "Look, I told the PDGA, I'm more than just a face, people." I'm sorry, Doc. I can't stop the fans from showing up for you. It's definitely unfortunate, and it's just, I mean, it's part of the job for being in the chat of the live stream. You just have to deal with it. It's a real bummer, but it is part. All right, I've got a few more minutes on me. Definitely starting to wind down just a tiny bit. The water might help revive me, but the amount of sleep I got last night before waking up was far too short for most human beings, and I am one of the most. I'm a little tired. Excuse me. Doc says, my take, best cheese for a cheeseburger, provolone. I don't know that it's a specific argument that is a winning argument necessarily, but your favorite cheese being provolone, that's unarguable, and that's totally fair. Uh, I don't know how you'd argue it's the best, but go for it. I'm proud of you for having something that you're really passionate about besides an Inn of a Dragon. Doc says, fight me. Provolone sounds good. I mean, I have provolone. I do sliders, and I usually do mild cheddar and provolone, and they make a great combination between the two of them. I'm sure that I would love. I'm sure I've had provolone on a burger and liked it, but I don't know. Hard to beat American cheese. Americans just made for it. Uh, yeah, just not Gouda. Gouda is good by itself, but I don't think it makes a burger for me. Maybe if there are other like ingredients that balance it out. Probably. Edit says, I've made I call it the Disc Catcher 3000, but it's a metal rake with a rope. Go to the pond on my course, so hopefully I can get the disc. Yes, the Disc Retriever 3, or the Disc Catcher 3000. I wish I could let you borrow. I just got the suction cup, which is really great, and it really works super well. I was really hoping that would work, because if it didn't, I would feel stupid. But it snags onto the disc, which is great. And I think this is a 16-footer, which is going to be good because I haven't had a disc retriever for a while. And now that I have one, I'm going to start losing discs and needing it. I think that's how it works. Or maybe now that I have it, I'll stop needing one, which would mean it was a good investment. Pretty sure that tracks. I think that's right. Rackle says, provolone is delicious, but I'd say pepper jack is better on cheeseburgers. Ooh, fighting words. And it says, I think Munster is best. Munster? It's good. I don't know. I don't know about best, but it's good. Rackle says, Doc, over the burger, if that's what you're asking. Oh, over or under? That's Irish water? What? Oh, of course. It's cheese. It's cheese. It's cheese. John Gordon says, if you eat a whole spoonful of mustard, I give you 200. First of all, a spoonful is nothing. Like, make me eat more than that. That's ridiculous. And I don't actually have any mustard in my fridge, so I can't do it. I could drink a 16-ounce bottle of water. I don't have anything, and I don't do challenges for presumed money that would probably not be donated anyway, because I'm not an idiot. At least I like to think so. But yeah, 200 is way too much for way too little mustard, for sure. So you're really underbidding yourself on that one. Doc says like the burger provolone just adds to the texture, not messes with the taste. Moonster is also good. Doc says had a disc gator I liked, but I lost the rod to make it snap, and now they don't sell them anymore. Bummer. Mustard packs are great if you get a cramp. Um, okay. Hmm. I haven't gotten a cramp since I was in fourth grade running laps, but cool. Cool. Doc says, Brad, actual real question. I like this a lot. What do you use for water on the cart? How do you hold a water bottle? Well, first of all, I don't. The reason that I have this water bottle with me right now is because the water bottle that I have on my cart has rubbed off the paint on the bottom half of the water bottle because the cart water bottle holders are too loose and the water moves around and shifts and it just scrapes it right off. So it's when I grab the bottom of the water bottle, I get residue paint on my hand. So I'm uh, not thrilled with the design. What I have thought of is a couple of different things. I've thought of rubber bands or like hair ties or something to wrap the um, whatever grip stem, whatever it's called, for the holder. Medical tape or duct tape could work. My thought was it's too far gone and the water bottle can just keep getting scratched at this point. I don't care. But yeah, so I scratched someone else's water bottle and I was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't know my cart did that. And now I do. And now I'll only sacrifice my own water bottles to it. So annoying, yes. Yeah, I would just try to pad it with something. I tried like a disc rag, but then it was, dangling by the wheel. So I was like, yeah, it's kind of an inefficient solution for the moment. But yeah, probably some tape, although tape can get rubbed right through. So maybe something padded could be a little bit better. I'm sure you could just cover it with like a sock. Maybe a disc golf themed sock would be kind of nice. Maybe a good way to um, cover all of it at the same time instead of having to layer something or wrap something directly around it. So that's probably advice would be a sock of some sort. And then essentially just, yeah, tighten it as best as you can and hope that it's not too loose because they're kind of obnoxious. Baby stroller bike shop on a water bottle holder. The instructions, just tighten with finger. I had to use a tool to tighten it. I did not tighten with finger. That was so stupid. Edis says, love your shirt. Thank you. Little Christmas gift from last year. And it's just a fun little break it out for the Christmas stream each year, which has been twice. So it's not like a long lasting tradition, but a couple of times where I've had it. And it's just a lot of fun. Little Christmas cheer going on. I like to wear a couple of random shirts, but occasionally I do wear the disc golf themed ones. Chain Reactions, Latitude. Have that like stupid tree shirt as well. But of course, it's Christmas. It's Christmas. Although I love that like I'm cold because it's just a t-shirt and my room is a little bit cold. So I am kind of chilly in the Christmas shirt because it's not a sweater. It's not actually, Christmas. It's like Florida Christmas, not, Christmas. Whatever that means. All right, I've got a few more minutes, guys. So any other comments and questions that are burning on your minds and pressing for you? As you can hear, my voice is beginning to give out. So a few more minutes, and then I'll be wrapping up the stream and not catching you guys probably until the new year, which kind of hurts. I want to catch you next week, but I just can't do it. I'm all over the place. I won't have the opportunity to sit down and be focused on a stream for several hours. And if I squeezed something in, I wouldn't really have discs with me. Yeah, makes me a little bit sad. I'll miss you guys, but I will be back very soon. Beginning of the new year. First the 4th, I'll be back to stream. And it says, if you ever come to Alabama, hit me up. We can play around. That would be a lot of fun. That'd be a lot of fun. I don't think I've been through Alabama. I've definitely never stopped and played any rounds of disc golf out there yet. But of course, that doesn't mean that I never will. So that'd be really cool. That'd be awesome. And hopefully I find my way out there at some point. And if you are in Charlotte, especially in the next few months, because there is a Pro Tour event in Charlotte. It is the Carolina Classic. Let me know because that would be sweet. That'd be awesome. Doc says got some tree hate today. So sorry. Doc says, any cart suggestions, etc. I should know. Yes. The biggest suggestion I have is every couple of rounds, every week or two, just go to the wheels and make sure that you tighten the nuts on the end, because one day you're going to be rolling along and your wheel is going to start coming off, and you're going to be like, what the heck? And if that nut is just somewhere on the corner, finding it. And that's a real pain. And then you have to play the rest of your round with a broken cart. I've seen it. It happened to Nolan running an event, and thankfully we had a handful of spectators. We were competing, and they jogged back. I think somebody had found it, or they found it in the fairway. Actually, we got it back on, which was really nice because the wheel is just going to roll itself off. Huge pain. So make sure that you just give those a little tight every once in a while. Just keep up with it. So I would give that advice. Otherwise, for the carts, yeah, try not to store it in such a way that it bends the water bottle holders even more, because I found out you can do that. Yeah, those are my big suggestions for the cart. Otherwise, enjoy. Hopefully, it rolls really well for you. Doc says Carolina Classic, my favorite Wendy's burger. Of course. Hey, Mr. Man, you're here at the end of the stream. I am starting to wrap up in the next couple of minutes, but glad you're here, and Merry Christmas to you and yours. I hope you're able to really enjoy some time with the people who are most important to you in your life. And you got to talk to Doc, so that's one of the biggest ones right there. Checked off your list early. I am wrapping up the live. I started it at 7, and I'm kind of ending to aim a few minutes before 9. I'm traveling tomorrow for 10 days. South Carolina, Florida, South Carolina, back. So about to start a little bit of a Christmas journey. So just wrapping things up here, but I've got another minute or two, so chat for a bit, ask a question or two, but I will be ending pretty soon, unfortunately. Edit says North or South Carolina? North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina. But it's kind of confusing because I'm going to be in South Carolina tomorrow. So just kind of all over the place. But in Charlotte right now, and it is the disc golf center of the U.S. in my opinion. I believe it's March that the Pro Tour will be in Charlotte. I believe. Heard that, tighten the screw up under the knob. Good. Okay, great. But yeah, just make sure every once in a while you just check them, make sure they're tight. Doc says north, but Charlotte really close to the South Carolina border. It's within an hour, I think, depending on the part of Charlotte you're in. Doc says favorite thing I discovered about my cart, didn't need a retriever sleeve or umbrella holder. Just slipped it in behind the bag, and that's what I did with my umbrella as well. I wasn't really thinking about it, but somebody was like, oh, dude, you can just tuck it back there. And I was like, well, so I can. Thank you very much. Mr. Man says, Merry Christmas to you, all you good folks out there. Merry Christmas, of course, to you as well. And hey, Jim Butt's coming in. Merry Christmas to all. Merry Christmas, Jim. Wrapping up the stream in the next 2 minutes. But glad that you were able to stop by, and I could say Merry Christmas. Doc says, only 2 hours tonight, the lazy booger. Walking stick, I can just hang it from the handle, not leave it on the ground and forget it. Yes, that's a good thing, and that is so true for me as well, because it is a place I can sit, and maybe once a round I sit, but I'm sure in big, long, multi-round tournaments, it's going to be a lifesaver. But having it there to kind of plop down on myself, I'm not carrying a stool of any kind, and then when I have something, I put it on or in the cart, so as long as it doesn't slide off the top or something like that, I have a centralized place. With the bag, it can be hard to kind of keep up with all of my individual items, but when you have the cart, you have a place. It's really, really kind of convenient. Mr. Man says, when is your next stream? So my next stream is going to be January 4th, Sunday. Back to the Sunday normal at 7 p.m., but it's going to be after the new year. I'm just going to be all able to sit down for several hours and stream really at almost any point during all of my travels, and with the people that I'll be spending time with, I want to be focused on them. So that is going to be my I've clearly spent a few hours on the stream so far, and it's about time to end it. But that's going to be my plan. So that is where I'm at. January 4th, Sunday. CT or CJT says, used to travel and play pro, won a ton of distance comps. 627 was my furthest with a destroyer. 627 would win some distance comps. That's really awesome. I'm sure today it's not winning very often against AB and some of the others, but especially for non-pro tour distance comps, you're probably winning almost everything. And then some pro tour distance comps, 620 plus is still up there, depending on the inbounds lines and rollers and stuff like that. Echo Star Destroyer, nice. Doc says, Brad paying for a Zuka pillow or DIY? No, neither. I don't care. I'm not that old. Doc says, Mr. Man, maybe you can be a 2026 mod. Maybe. Depends on what Mr. Man wants for Christmas. Sarah says, hi. Hey, thanks for hopping on and cannot wait to play with you tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be awesome. CJ says, raised AB in Arizona. He's family. How much family? Like, actually, like, play disc golf with him somewhat often? Or he grew up in your disc golf club or what? What? I need a couple of details there. Just a little bit of, precise explanation. But if you raised AB and now he beats you, good for you for launching him. Because that's awesome. Mr. Man says, I'll start a riot on the next stream to make you mod. You haven't seen nothing yet. Don't mind Mr. Man. Brad has enough troubles reading. Let's not add a riot. CJT says, every day when he was a kid, his dad and I are close. That's super cool. That's really awesome. That's really awesome. What an opportunity to pour into a young, growing disc golfer and to see it pay off to stream on the Pro Tour. That's really cool. That's awesome. He can beat me all day now. Yeah, of course, yeah. But you launched him, so that's you can be proud of that. It's like your kid being better than you at something is like, yeah, a tiny bit of you is like, they're better than me, but you're like, but I raised them. So yeah, it's definitely really, really cool. Okay. Sarah says, I'm 11. Oh, Doc says, wait. What did I miss? Okay, I'm caught up. I'm 11, so I'm going to get my butt whooped. It's just going to be awesome. It's going to be fun. Edith says, everyone liked the stream before the end. Thanks, Edith. Appreciate it. All right. Peace out. Catch you guys in a couple of weeks. I wish it was next week, but 2 weeks, January 4th, I'll be back with news about Roar Open. So coming soon. Hopefully it goes well. I don't know if it could go as well as last year, making a lead card with and beating Paul Ulibarri, but I'm going to do my best. I'm going to see what happens. It's Hornet's Nest, so I can't play it that well. All right, love you guys. Merry Christmas. Sarah says, are you going to make videos while we play? I can do a little filming. That sounds like fun. Okay. Hey, Kevin Galloway stopping in super late in literally the last seconds of the stream to say hi, because he never pays attention to when I stream, but whatever. I guess that's just the way that Kevin is. Love you, Kevin. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody. Sarah says, see you, Birdie. Everyone subscribe. See you next time. Kevin says, sorry, it's too late, Kevin. It's too late. All right, love you guys. Peace out. Oh, gosh.